Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Cloud Foundry Weekly. This is gonna be a pretty fun show today. We're coming to you early today, so everyone in the across the pond, as we say here in the States, in the European time zone, all of you Cloud Foundry listeners, maybe we're catching you a little early today in your time zone. But today we got Keith on joining the show again. He's been a pretty frequent regular here. Nikki can't make it. He's in the AWS reInvent. Hopefully this is his last big conference of the season. I did see him. I did end up going to KubeCon, and I did get to catch up with Nikki at KubeCon and check out his coder booth and everything too. So that's pretty cool. So I'm sure we'll hear from him shortly. But we have a pretty good topic today, and I think Nikki would have really liked to be on the show, but we'll have to catch up. But we brought Lloyd on to talk about some service publishing, like new features within Tanzu Platform. But I guess first and foremost, we should probably do some pre-show banter and just kind of warm the audience up. Keith, do you have any fun things happening in your neck of the woods?
Warm up the audience is right. I am frozen. Frozen. That's why I'm wearing a hat indoors, because I was in the office this morning, came back to the house, and this common problem I keep forgetting. I have geofence. This is the thing. I love gadgets. I love tinkering. I geofenced the heating system, so once everyone leaves the house, it shuts everything down. So there's no heat in the house. I need to start up the server, get some GPUs heat into the house, like how you're doing yours, Nick. But yeah, it's cold. What was it the other day? It was -4. I know we keep joking. I don't know what that is in freedom units.
I don't know. I only understand Fahrenheit.
25.
Oh yeah, okay.
25 freedom units. Yeah, I'm cold.
Yes, yeah. I guess on that note, I've converted all of my house to run entirely on my home lab heat. I've successfully created started that project. I'm not running my main heat system. It is 19 degrees in Fahrenheit or freedom units here, or -7.2 Celsius for everyone in the rest of the world. But yeah, so fun times there as well. But yeah, I guess that's my kind of a side conversation of like, how do I turn all these little NVIDIA GPU heaters into my main house heat? And it seems to be working out. So thanks, Jensen. You're saving my electricity bill with heat, but not really. I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot cheaper to heat my house other ways. But
yeah, like there, when you speak of Jensen, like who had that on their bingo card that he turned up on Rogan's show?
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but that's on my list to watch. So yeah, I'm sure that's a pretty interesting podcast if anyone's seen it. So yeah, Lloyd, how you doing? Anything fun going on in your neck of the woods?
All good. Also freezing cold. We moved house recently, so similar to you, Keith, we had a Hive installed, and we still haven't figured out any of the scheduling or exactly the automations we need to have. So it's either sweating, boiling hot, or absolutely freezing cold. Still trying to find the right balance of that at the moment. But right now, we're good. It's not too bad. But if I start sweating or shaking, then the Hive's kicked in.
you have to open your window right next to you so you can get some fresh air. But yes, I guess too, we should probably give a quick introduction of who you are, what you do, because you're new to the show, and then we'll ask you our first famous question after that.
Sounds good. So really excited to be on. My name's Lloyd. I'm one of the product managers at Tanzu, responsible for services. So that's the create experience, the bind experience, marketplace, and now service publishing, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about today, and super excited about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess with that said, do you remember your first CF push, right? Because this is what we ask everybody, or it could be your first Cloud Foundry interaction or experience as well. Do you have any?
So I'm one of those who used to be a customer of Tanzu. I was building my own developer platform over there. A lot of it was kind of self-built. It got very hard very quickly. We had our own front end that was built with React. We had a lot of kind of automation using Ansible and other pieces, and started looking out for other products that could help. And that's when we looked into Tanzu. So I remember this was probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago. Doing the whole CF push demo and all the things that Tanzu and Spring were doing, and going, very simple, super easy to use. It made sense. And then I was like, I should probably join this company, and made the move over just after that.
Very cool. Well, I think it's a pretty good decision for you. So,
it's been fun.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here. So
interesting. You brought up how you were building your own, because we've come across many guests as well who've done that, and why they then decide maybe PaaS is actually the right route. Well, like, I don't have to mention company names or anything, but like, what made that happen? Why did you have to start looking for a PaaS?
Yeah, so there was, and this actually comes into play a little bit with what we're going to talk about today with service publishing, because we had this whole strategy around kind of APIs and driving kind of standards across the company so that we could, standardize and reuse existing components, right? Like having teams kind of reuse things that are already running and things that are there, because you don't want to kind of replicate the same thing happening over and over again, right? And when we started to build the platform to do that, the bits that got really hard was one, kind of aligning on, internal stuff like the tooling, right? Like exactly what we're going to use. Everyone's got kind of an opinion of how that should work, and kind of stitching that all together. But a big piece, and this was one where I remember we said, well, we need to talk to the Tanzu team about how to do this properly, was a lot of the things that we had around the hierarchy. Like we had a lot of good intentions around having things where you have kind of like organization management or cost control or those type of things. But then when you start to think about the data models and the things that go with that, it gets really tough. So that's when we're like, okay, well, rather than inventing it here, maybe we should look at PaaS options and go, right, well, one, you've got kind of the abstractions through all the tools and those pieces anyway. But two, you've got hierarchies that work for lots of other companies. So why wouldn't it work for us? So that was kind of two of the things I remember being pretty hard when we were going through that process.
Very cool. Well, yeah, that's good to hear, and I always appreciate some tales from a past life and in a real world customer scenario as well. So it's pretty interesting to hear as well. Okay, so service publishing. I mean, so this is, again, if you haven't seen our past couple of shows, we've been trying to cover all of the bits that dropped in Tanzu Platform 10.3. We're still, I think, behind in terms of like we need 10 more shows to cover everything. But this is our attempt this show to cover some of the service publishing. We might even hint at some of the other, there's a lot of other service management updates as well. So maybe we can cover that too, but we'll see where time permits. A lot of things I'm excited about. I know, Keith, you've been playing a lot with service publishing in general. Lloyd, you obviously can help build it all. So I guess how do we want to start? Do we want to do a little quick overview of like what it is? Do we want to kind of show, like, I could show, Keith could show. I guess we be pretty freeform about this, but
we do a little 2-minute overview of what it is and why we introduced it and where it's from. So
perfect.
So when we started with kind of when I started with Tanzu, right, I picked up the services piece, which was all the stuff that we had around, the marketplace. So showing all the services that are available for developers to use, the create experience, aka kind of dynamically provisioning things, the self-service aspect, and bind, right, which is the ability to connect to stuff. But I remember when we were going through the process, it was like, well, how do we get things into the marketplace? It's like, okay, well, you use service brokers. It's like, right, okay, well, we then have to write service brokers and maintain them. And similarly, there's a standard that kind of comes with that whilst, we know how they work and we can manage it from a customer perspective, it wasn't highly adopted, right? It was one of those things that was like a bit of a barrier for entry when it was like, we want to try and get our services into the marketplace. And I think when we looked at kind of the sort of what we have in Tanzu today and the parts that we have, it was like, well, we could stitch this together with a nice user experience so that app developers can easily publish their applications with a REST-based API into the marketplace so that other teams can discover it, connect to it, create instances of it, binding to it ultimately at the end, right? And it's trying to, from a business perspective, it's all around how you drive collaboration between teams, right? Like going back to the point from the previous company, you've got lots of teams doing the same thing twice, 3 times, 4 times. If you have a single marketplace to discover stuff that already exists, well, great, I can reuse that and, build it into my application. Or similarly, if it doesn't exist, cool, that's an opportunity then for me to kind of go in and create it myself. So we've really, like what service publishing is kind of stitching all of those parts that we have in Tanzu Platform today into a nice user experience. And then, making it easy to get stuff into the marketplace and connect to it.
I guess be channeling my past life and maybe channel a little bit of Nikki since he's not here. I think it's a pretty huge deal, especially because I remember, like, in essence, right? Usually these large enterprises, large organizations, you can have a lot of these core sub-services that are like the same, or not necessarily the same, that are like common across multiple apps or microservices, right? There might be a common set of, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, maybe even, like, a while ago we used to call some of this concept like an enterprise service bus or something a long time ago. But those services either could be shared or I don't know, somehow maybe like here's a wiki page how to like consume this or how to get but now we're exposing that in the marketplace so that teams can publish and say, hey, team XYZ maintains and owns this, and then allows the brokering and controls. They can, I think we can even maybe like control like rate limits and things into the service that they maintain and own to other teams, so those other teams don't have to go and build that over and over again, which is huge. That's going to save a lot of time. But then also, I think from a support perspective too, like the Death Stars that happen when these microservices get built and wired all together, the troubleshooting service to service call, that's where things get a little, lose your hair type of situation. So that's why I have no hair left. But
it's definitely helping a little bit with that responsibility boundary, right? Like, you have a Tanzu platform space already where your application is running, right? You've got all the insight and observability for that application today. Well, if I can publish the API that I already have, it means that, one, other teams can find it easily and connect to it in a self-service way. No conversation needed, right? And just go, right, it's in the marketplace. I can create an instance, off you go. I know who's made it. And there's also, we'll see this, I'm sure, in a little bit, but like all of the pieces around the API specification, documentation, links, just making it really easy in terms of how to use it. And then, like you say, like, you've got the provider team who can then manage it where they work best, where their application's running, right? And then if you're a platform engineer, you can then go, right, like you say, the Death Star kind of microservices all going together. Well, one, hopefully that reduces because you haven't got kind of random microservices being spun up because you use that central piece. But then two, it's like, well, I can see through the topology, right? I can go, right, okay, this application is connected to this service, which is actually another application, which may have a dependency on the service. And you can start to stitch those things a bit nicer together through the hub as well, which is cool.
Like we were inside Broadcom this week. We were running kind of a boot camp for some of our field, and we showed this. And there was people. So some of them were not. Some were new to Tanzu. Some of the sellers, and some were existing sellers or were a Tanzu seller before. And those who saw this, who were sellers before, going, "Oh my God, you have this now. This is something we wanted a long time." So there was those who understand the power of this, when like the excitement was real once they saw this. Like it's not like cups, create user provided services on steroids, but it's like we're familiar with that.
Yeah. Oh, we lost you, Keith. 1 second.
I clicked probably mute by a second.
We were talking.
So there's definitely cups. Appreciation. Yeah. Like cups on steroids, but even better.
Because with cups, all you're really doing is like connecting to that running instance, right? But that can kind of be anywhere, but it's not in the platform. This is kind of saying, well, one, you've got an actual offering with a way to understand exactly what it does, all of the kind of consumption pieces that help you understand that service better. But two, a really easy create and bind experience from there as well, right? So all about just making it,
as you say, the discovery piece of it, UI, CLI, the discovery is great. There was great appreciation by people who've used this or were using Tanzu Platform in the past to see the power of this now. And that's where my mind was going, ooh, what could I do with MCP servers with this? So I know.
Oh yeah, well that's we're bringing in AI again. It's been 15 minutes. We haven't talked about AI, so our YouTube algorithm just killed us. So thanks Keith for saving us. So,
but that's where my mind went straight away once I saw this feature. Like, ooh, So yeah, sort of a bit of hacking around with that. Yeah.
We've started it off with kind of the traditional, traditional is maybe a funny word to use, but the REST-based API experience that we have, right? And kind of going, look, most microservices are going to expose a REST-based API. We put, a gateway in front of that in the background so the team doesn't know about it, so it's easy to connect to. But yeah, in the future, we have some plans around, MCP in a way is just another standard for just other applications, right? So how can we make that experience similar to publishing? Because we know, companies are going to be looking to modernize writing in MCP interfaces for LLMs, right? So you can again have a similar thing where you go, right, one team who's using an LLM for something could go, great, I've now got my product catalog or whatever's there with an MCP interface as part of it. Perfect. Like, teams can start to modernize and build stuff with AI in mind, which is cool. But yeah, for now, just REST-based APIs. You can do some pieces with MCP. I think, Keith, you've done a little bit with that, right, as part of the latest release. But yeah, we've got some new exciting optimizations for that coming up.
Yeah, and of course, we will always push the boundary of the current existing product offering, and hopefully see what else we can do to
see how far we can take it.
Enhance what's already out there, right? Yeah. But okay, yeah. So how do we bootstrap this? Keith, do you want me to show a little bit of like some of how to install it, or do you want to? Are you in a drive, or I'm okay if you driving all the way?
Yeah, I can. I have an environment though. I need to just roll back a few changes, but I know Lloyd creates pretty slides. Let's just call it what it is. So I know Lloyd has some pretty slides. If he wants to show him what I'm just doing a bit of environment cleanup, so then I can just share my environment and Lloyd can kind of walk us through the process.
Okay.
But
perfect.
Just take a few minutes, but.
Sorry, let me just bring those up as well.
And while our famous, we keep working on this, we'll have our nice little interlude of our sponsor segment of, if you like this show, don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll keep you get notified of our latest episodes. You can check us out at cloudfounderweekly.com and subscribe to our channel via any kind of popular podcast player of choice as well. So yeah. That helps out. You should like and subscribe and watch all our content. All right. I see a video. I see a screen.
You see a screen?
Are you ready to? Can I bring it to stage, Lloyd?
You can bring it to stage. Right. As long as it's the right screen.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Turn.
Perfect.
This looks right. This looks good. Right.
So sort of similar to the overview at the start, right? Just a quick blurb on what we're doing. So the way that we're sort of talking around this is, first of all, within Tanzu, a lot of the time is coming down to a very clear definition of what we're trying to do, right? So we start off with what is a service. It's ultimately a dependency of an application or a human, right? And if you're an app developer, it's anything that kind of your application needs, or kind of anything that I need to make me more productive, right? And the thing that we talk about a lot is that platform value comes a lot from facilitating exchange between providers and consumers, right? So if you think of platforms we use every day, like Uber, right? It's riders to drivers, or Deliveroo, it's restaurants to drivers to people. Or, with developer platforms, you kind of go, well, we're connecting developers to other developers, then ultimately to a customer at the end of it, right? And as a developer, you kind of have this role of, okay, sometimes I'm consuming services through the platform, be it databases or caches or APIs, right? But maybe sometimes I'm using those things to provide a service to another team, right? And that's kind of where we looked at the service publishing pieces. So, as an example, there's maybe a music shop, right? And the music shop team needs to transact payments, right? But ultimately, kind of, they don't want to go off and build the thing themselves. They want to reuse something that already exists. So actually, we have now with service publishing, right, this mechanism where let's start with the publisher, right? So the payments team can now have their application and its microservices that are running in a space. And they've got a very simple user experience now to kind of take the application and publish it to the marketplace, which hopefully we'll be able to show today. And once it's in the marketplace, we'll maybe talk through this a little bit as well. We still have the platform engineer being, the owner of the marketplace and what goes in there. So they still maintain kind of the service access and making sure you don't just put random things into it. So they would enable access to maybe specific orgs or specific teams. And that means then that the music shop team can go, great, I can now go to Tanzu Platform, go into the marketplace, understand exactly how this service works. Payment service looks great. I'm going to, Tanzu service create a service instance of that, and then bind to it, right? So kind of, again, binding is really where that service is generating the credentials and injecting that into the application, right? So it can consume it in a nice, easy way that's secure, right? So we have, this is another set of slides that we had, but ultimately there's kind of 3 personas that we have as part of this flow, right? So there's obviously our platform engineer who's responsible for actually installing the capabilities to start with. It's a tile, right? So you install the tile to Tanzu Platform, and that kind of gives you all of the bits that you need to make publishing work. Then you have publishers who, they do a CF push, they have their application that's running in a space, and then they do the publish flow. Once it's in the marketplace, Paxton, our platform engineer, will then do the service access piece. And that means Shay on the right-hand side there can consume the service with that simple create and bind that we talked about. So I'm not sure where we're going to start with Keith's demo today. It might be with Paxton, it might be with Scott. I guess I'll hand it back over.
Yeah, the timing was close. I'm nearly there.
Okay. Sorry.
I should have talked slower. Today. I'm just unwinding all my changes, and I'm trying to think my order. Unwinding it back.
Do you mean to bring up a little bit of the tile? How do you highlight the installation part of it real quick, or if you need a little bit more time?
Okay, I think I'm good. Let me.
Good? Okay.
Whoop. Right. Let's see if. Okay, let's see. Can I share?
I'm looking for your screen approval. Oh no.
Can you show windows, or does it have to be a screen?
Usually add a screen. I think you can choose.
Maybe.
It's been a little while.
Screen to share audio. Okay. Oh, yep. Okay. Let me get the right one.
Technology.
Oh, sharing the room.
All right. Yeah, I see it. I'm loading it.
Okay.
Boom. We got it.
Very nice.
Okay, so I'll bump it up so people, if they're watching on their phone or something, maybe. Let me know if that resolution's okay.
Yes. Looks okay to me. Yep.
Cool. So I'll try and keep it in the UI rather than jumping around.
Mm-hmm.
So as Lloyd was saying, we have a few services and we can publish them. So here I have a product catalog service.
Mm-hmm.
So the team have been working on it, developing it. They have it running. So let's see the flow for publishing it. So here now there's a new option now in Hub where if you're in an application and you've installed the service publishing capability, again, which can be easily done through Tanzu Hub.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, just give a bit of context, we can go manage, and we have a huge catalog of capabilities. And if I could spell. Whoop, no, I can't.
We can't help you spell.
No. We have a service publisher, and you can enable that compatibility on whatever foundation you want. So I've already done this step where I've already configured this capability.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everything can be done through Hub. Like before, we were doing this per foundation basis using Opsman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you can enable this capability and many other capabilities.
Yeah, I think we're doing a teaser for a whole nother show. We've talked about some of these capabilities at either. So if you like what you see here, you should watch whatever we do next. So how about that?
Nice. Yeah. So I'm going to my catalog service and I'm going to publish it. So let's give it a name.
Oh, nice.
Well, Keith's doing that. One of the things that we really tried to focus on with the user experience here is more on the marketing of how this appears in the marketplace. So having teams, be able to define, well, what is the, service icon, for example, like, so it's easily discoverable in the marketplace, having kind of the description and subtitle and those aspects kind of more of the point, right, to highlight, because you want to kind of advertise your team, right? You want to be like, hey, here's a cool API that we've got. This is this, good experience that we provide in this example, product catalog, right? And there's not much sort of configuration of any of the bits that go on in the background for it.
Yeah. And I guess on a side note, in my past life, we dealing with lots of distributed teams, this would have made really interesting conversation, because we had team names like Snuffleupagus or Decepticons or Autobots, or all of the Marvel, every character name you can think of. So it was really like the payment service down published by Team Snuffleupagus is
you definitely have some fun with
it. Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll have some AI generated image
for it. We think this should be your team logo. Like,
exactly.
We're gonna spend 3 days debating this.
So what I've been doing there while you were chatting, thank you. We can give it an offering name, something that makes sense, and give it some more details, high level, and then a service offering. This of course could be much more elaborate. I'm just doing something quick in the interest of time. Of course, give it an icon, and you can give it who the provider, some labels, and also very powerful is the Open API spec, which you'll see how powerful is later, how you can see the various calls, schema, etc. And most importantly, documentation. I'm a stickler for this. Rather than passing around post-it notes of how to do this, or where's this hiding on a wiki or on the back of a cigarette box, it's just that you can give it all. There's no one having to go around and find this. So the next thing, plans. So you have the full capability of using plans and giving a description. So like you can do it on rate limiting. So let's say small is like a 1K rate limit, and let's do, say, a large. You can do whatever you want. You should be familiar with these. Like with databases, you do DB small, DB medium, DB large.
Maybe say how many cores and RAM they have, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But for APIs, it's a little bit different. Yeah, this makes sense.
Okay, cool. And publish. Nice. So that's working away now in the background. Making this available, and in a few moments after, Lloyd has a dad joke for us. No pressure.
No. I gotta bring up my AI.
We'll have it popping up here where we'll walk through the next step.
Yeah. Just on the rate limit piece as well, it was actually, so one of the principles we had when building this stuff is we wanted to obviously use all of the kind of existing Cloud Foundry aspects, right? And we wanted to fit this in with offerings and plans like we had today, but we were going, well, how do we categorize plans for APIs? And the obvious one that came to mind was rate limit, right? There was an interesting thing of being like, okay, how are we going to structure this in the right way that makes sense? But we've had a lot of good feedback on that, and kind of really helps teams manage that inbound access to the application and just keep things a bit simpler on that publishing side as well.
Yeah, this is I'm excited. This is a past life. This would have been so much useful. Oh man.
So in the background now as well, so we have kind of API gateways that are being provisioned sort of visibly.
Here you'll see
that space. And it's kind of connecting that application to the Spring Cloud Gateway and making sure that it's all kind of ready to go before we put that into the marketplace.
Well, I think some of that too, I guess maybe we're calling it, we're taking the battle hardened Spring Cloud Gateway and deploying it for you too.
Exactly what it is. Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to, you're going to get a lot of pretty much enterprise grade API gateway in front of your service to help out in case you maybe don't have a very good API. Or maybe, help you out a little bit, so to speak.
We've been super opinionated on it. And another sort of nice to have feature of this, so the Spring Cloud gateways that we provision as part of Service Publisher, they're part of the system org, right? Which means that they're not charged additional Spring Cloud gateways. They're just part of the platform. It's part of the experience. That's what you get, which is
I think
a good reason to use
it. Yeah. That's. Thank you. Everyone thanks you there for that.
Free stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So now we see, when you were talking there, I showed how the gateway was created.
Okay.
And now we have our new service offering. But
from Lee Labs. Who's that?
This micro island of Toon Labs.
Yeah.
So here it is. Can everyone use it? No, they can't. So Lloyd, do you want to give more a bit of?
Yeah, sure. So as a platform engineer, as we mentioned, right, we want to make sure that the marketplace is this nice curated place. You don't want people just publishing any random service in here. So we disable service access by default, right? So what that means is once the service is published, there is a step for a platform engineer to come in. And on the marketplace view that Keith was just showing, right, we have these offerings that are shown across the top here. So below is stuff that people can find because organizations are enabled, service access is enabled. But the stuff at the top, we kind of say, hey, you may want to check these things because with publishing, you may have stuff coming up now and again, all the time where teams are just doing it. And it's hinting towards the platform engineer, like, here's some stuff you may want to enable. Product catalog is one of those now that we want to look at, right? So when we click into the offering as the platform engineer, it's then giving you that view that says, okay, well, like now I need to check this out and see how it works. You can see, the summary and the plans that Keith created in the previous step. But the nice piece is if we click on the API spec tab, that API spec that Keith included is then there in Swagger documentation, right? So that as a PE or a consumer, when we enable service access in a minute, you get a much better understanding of exactly what the API provides, so that when you do create and bind to it, you know how it works, right? And all of that's included again as part of the offering that we have. So once the PE kind of goes in and goes, yeah, everything looks good, you then have the option to manage service access, which is something I think in Cloud Foundry you're only able to do through the CLI, right? So this is again like a little bit of a nice new UI feature that we have. And again, you can say, do I want to give global access, which you have at the top, or for each plan, do I want to give specific org group access to that plan, right? So again, it'll be like, okay, I want to give one team access to the large and one team access to the small. Maybe a dev, you just give access to the small, right? So you got some options in there to kind of manage that as a PE.
And I guess too, we'll call out, I don't think we mentioned org groups and org spaces, which is kind of this superset of orgs and spaces when we're talking in Tanzu Platform. Again, this is another show we haven't yet covered, but we're talking about, that's a multi-foundation construct, org and space construct. So
it is.
This is this multi-foundation by default or potential?
In 10.3, it's not. You have a mapping of 1-to-1 to 1 for now, but in future releases, that is exactly the plan, right? Is that you would have a foundation group of multiple foundations. You would have an org group that spans all of those foundations, and a space group, obviously, that does the same thing. But what that means is then once you have those constructs available, you can then sort of scale out your capacity for those foundations in a nice, simple, easy way by just adding in more foundations, right? But like you said, Nick, that's probably a whole.
Oh yeah, we could rat hole on that for days, I think, for sure. Yeah.
So we can see now it's now out of this kind of holding place, and now it's a service offering.
I see it.
Here we go.
Very cool.
So now I'm changing my hat. I'm not going to take this one off because I don't have another one here. My head is cold. Yeah. We can be, let's say, the head of wearing the hat of some of the app team. So, Lloyd, do you want to walk us through that and kind of that flow?
Yeah, I mean, again, similar to the platform engineer, you'll just notice now that we don't have that banner anymore that says enable service access. It's what you would expect to see in the marketplace, right? So if you were a consuming app developer, and I think in this demo we have like an order management team, right? So the order management team wants to use the product catalog to get the latest product information. Great. Go into the marketplace. Again, can see all the information about it. They've got that documentation link if they need to see that same API specification. But now you have the option to create service instances. I think also one thing we haven't really mentioned, we now have a marketplace and create a bind service through the hub, which is again a new feature of 10.3, which we didn't have before. But with service publishing, we've kind of gone, oh, look, you get all of this together. But yeah, you can then go in, create a service instance. So you can choose again the small or large plan that Keith created earlier, and then you choose where you want to deploy that. So you give it, a name, and then the org group, which is kind of, your permission boundary, and then the space group where the thing will actually run. Now, what actually happens, and maybe we'll jump to this in a sec. So Keith will create a service instance, and what this does is it'll provision a service instance in the consuming space, right, where the team wants to kind of connect to that API, but it's not a sort of running instance of that application, right? It's almost like a pointer, right? It's in your space and it's pointing you to the Spring Cloud gateway that's running in the publishing space, and then kind of connecting you to the application. So, what that means ultimately is that the publishing team can maintain kind of operations within, where their application sits, right? They have consumers that are coming in as part of it. But as a consumer, you're going, great, well, I have this thing that I'm connected to. I have the integration point. Perfect. It's the same as, all the other services we have in the platform as well. Right. So yeah, that's where we think is going to help a lot operationally for teams, because just maintain kind of those responsibility boundaries where you're at. So.
Well, I was unaware of that. So that's very good too. And you can't have somebody going in there. I don't know what these services are and accidentally deleting them that aren't, part of the team that manages them.
Well, exactly. And part of what we have to think about a lot through this is, the dynamic between all of these roles, right? Because it's quite a human transaction that's going on here, because you want the publishers to maintain responsibility and consumers to kind of easily self-serve things, but then platform engineer is kind of managing the whole piece. And we may touch on this in a second, but there's a piece also around, like, as a publisher, you may want to maintain some element of control for like who's consuming your service. But also similarly, there's like a security piece, right? Like, you don't need to know everything about the application that's connecting to it as well. So we'll talk through that probably in a second. But for now, I guess we've got the opportunity to bind or connect to the service, right?
Yeah, so here we are. We call the service the Tanzu product catalog. And again, through Hub, we can simply bind to it. So we're going to select my order management app, give it a name. Something's going to make sense to me. And again, stuff we're all very familiar, like, the very famous, we have the CF push, the CF create service, and the CF bind. But again, here we're just showing the UI experience. Typically, I live in the CLI, but just for the value of YouTube, I suppose. Look prettier.
I guess on the side, I really like that little bottom right-hand corner feature. When you click something, then there's the progress bar, and then goes to like the green checkbox. I don't know, just
satisfying.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, something happened. Let's go see what happened.
Yeah, the experience for binding is exactly the same for any other service, right? You are generating the credentials on the kind of publishing side, which comes from the publisher Spring Cloud Gateway, because that's the thing you're connecting to, and then that's injected into the consumer's application. So then they have the credentials to use it, right? And we're using API keys to do that today. One of the things that we have under consideration is using OAuth as part of that flow as well, which will make things obviously a lot more secure and nice. So yeah, again, another thing that we're kind of looking at to enhance this flow.
So yeah, we have our binding. So now I'm going to go to my order management app. And
no, this is the consuming app of the service, right?
Yeah.
This is the app that got bound to the custom service, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to keep my.
We just have to wait a little while, because this is not Kuhn Labs that is using US East in AWS.
Yeah.
It's just a single box. So that's why there's a bit of a delay here, because in the background, I'm actually deploying another foundation. So we'll talk about that another day. There's another feature where we can vend foundations. So my poor little home lab is getting absolutely hammered because it's running at the moment 3 foundations on a single box.
Well, I got a little heat bump there, but yeah, that's pushing that box to the limit. And it's not like you're gonna go buy some more DRAM for it anytime soon, if you know what I'm saying. Oh my god.
Did you see Mike? That was Micron of interesting announcement. Was it Micron?
It was Micron. They bowed out of all the consumer grade system memory and I guess like storage as well. So they're only gonna focus on this high end HBM3 stuff for GPUs. But yeah, if you're just this is a side current events situation. You may want to hold on to any kind of computer hardware you have, or see what you can do to make it last a little bit longer, because we're definitely in a RAM or DRAM crisis. And if you're in the business of buying computer parts or really anything like that, you'll notice that the prices have skyrocketed. So you're seeing prices that 5 to 6x now on the consumer side, and it's getting pretty ugly out there, folks. So hold on to your memories you're quite closely, right? I'm starting to see pics too, people like holding 10 sticks of RAM. Like, I'm a millionaire now. So
I was going to say your lab snake must be
I'm living in this strange bubble, right? Hopefully it's not an AI bubble, but where I bought a lot of old equipment on eBay, and somehow it's greatly appreciated in price, which is usually it's supposed to just at this point in its life cycle just basically be worthless, but somehow it's managed to skyrocket in price. So I might have to divest some part of Coon Labs here soon just to pay for it eventually. So I'm waiting another month or two to see where prices go post the new year. I think they're gonna go even higher, so just gotta time the market the right time.
I think
not come up yet, but yeah, as I said, I'm looking at the box. Yeah, my box is literally hammered. I've capped all my memory, and I moved into tiering. So yeah, it's getting hammered.
Oh boy. Okay.
Let's see. The binding is there, right? Like we saw that, and the services provision as part of it. I think it's just a little bit of a delay with a hub. It seems like.
But yeah, like as we saw there, like because I don't have the rest of it set up where we can actually show the VCAP services and stuff like that. But I know what's the next steps for the next iteration of this service, Lloyd?
Well, there's one more part of the flow that we have here as well. So there's the publisher as a in their application, they should be able to see the consuming app, right? So again, it's just giving visibility to the publisher of like, you've put this thing on the marketplace, you don't know who's going to have access to it and where it's coming from. So you want a way to be able to manage that. So if we go into the product catalog service, so we also have one thing we didn't talk about. So we have these little banners that come up as well in the overview, right? So it just keeps you informed that this application is published as a service offering, and similarly, it keeps you in the loop as you're going through the process as well, right? So like it may say to you, hey, this hasn't got service access enabled yet, so you may want to go have a chat with the platform engineer to do that. But we also have this new tab here called API consumption, which for now is fairly simple, but it's just giving you insight in terms of where that consuming app is coming from, right? So we've tried to be fairly obtuse just to give some level of, boundary between the teams, but give you enough information that you could go, okay, like I know roughly who to talk to in my organization, right? So you can see here, I get the instance name, I get the plan they're using and the rate limit that comes with that. But I can see where that app is, right? So I know the org and I know the space, so that again, if there was anything awry, I could go have a conversation with the team, right? Because this is primarily targeted, right, at internal development use cases. It's trying to get teams to collaborate with other teams in the same organization. And actually, Keith, back to your question, right? Like one of the things that we're looking at enhancing in future releases is exactly this view, right? So getting more observability of kind of the consumption that's coming in, right? So specifically, that's the API gateway observability that we get as part of this, right? So I can measure authentication failures or rate limits or paths that are being followed as part of the API. And again, just giving kind of the publisher a bit more confidence and insight into how to manage that API best as well. So we're pretty excited about that one.
And would that also be across foundations?
It will be, yeah. So once we implement the foundation group concept, right, part of what we would then do is then say, well, you have org groups and space groups. There's nothing to stop the platform engineer sharing to other org groups, right? Because at the end of the day, you're just pointing to where that Spring Cloud Gateway sits. So that is the plan. But we just need to, build out kind of that foundation group concept a little bit more in future releases.
Very cool. So when Team Snuffleupagus goes and takes down my API, we can go have a conversation.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Very cool. Yeah. And why is your team name Snuffleupagus? I never figured that out. I was always like, what is this? Like,
that's the first question.
Yes. It's always like, in the meeting invite, like just the weird the Slack-like conversations and things like this, like go join their channel and like just anyway. Sorry, I'm really going off the rails here, but yeah. So I think we've had a pretty good overall view of service publishing and service offerings. Do we have you to thank for like just like the whole flow of services in general within Hub? Because I want to thank you.
Thanks, Nick. A combination of everyone, and also definitely Keith's feedback over the last couple of months as well, which has really helped shape this up. So
I'm going to bring up Coon Labs here. This is not really the conversation per se of the title here, but if I can, oh man, now I got to figure out how to share a screen. Good luck. I've done this before too, and every time I'm like just fumbling. Share screen, entire screen. I guess I'll do a window. Maybe I'll be fancy and do a window.
That's what caught me. But when you share the window, it then gives you the option for tabs and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, we can see that.
We can see services.
Oh, did I take over already? Oh, I didn't have to approve myself. I guess when I'm the owner of the streamer, I don't have to approve myself. So all right. So yes, I just want to harp on this. So like the services view, like if you have a lot of services running, a lot of different tiles, and I kind of do now. I've got a couple of foundations here, but like, hey, I use this like all the time now, and this is just maybe some of the simplest feature or whatever. But like, I do a lot of this AI stuff, and I'm like, hey, I need to look for like who's using the AI tile, right? And I can see already there, like I already have, I have 76 instances of it deployed, and I could easily see in this screen, like what's going on, like if they're tied to a business app, like, what space. And I just, like before, didn't have that visibility at all, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with, let's go to Postgres, right? Like, like Postgres, right? I think it's this one. And then I see all the databases and the bindings, like I'm still baffled or like blown away by this every time, because it's awesome. Because like before, you didn't have, like, it was just like, maybe I'm going to go into apps manager and kind of like see some things and like go to each space and like, pain, or like I'm going to go into Bosch and do like some Bosch commands and grep for like Postgres, and then do like a word count -L to get my count. And then like, I've got like 60 Postgres instances deployed. Like, this supply changes is going to take like 6 years. So like things like that. So awesome. And then
this is a real multi-foundation view as well, right? So every foundation you have as part of this, we're aggregating all of those services so you could discover them, right? So that whole, like you say, finding which service instance is there, you don't have to dig around in each foundation anymore. You just go to this view, you can search for it and filter on it and do what you need. We did a similar thing actually with Marketplace, where if you're used to the Cloud Foundry Marketplace, you had the option to drop down by org, right? So again, if you were trying to find an offering, you were just going through each org to like try and get to it. Now with the new marketplace that we have in Hub, we've just said, well, why don't we just collate all of the offerings that we have across all of the orgs? And then if you have, access in one org, but not in another, you could say, well, hey, have a conversation with the platform engineer to make it available for me. And then you're ready to go, right? It's not that I have to sort of dig around and find it, experience that we had previously. So yeah, hopefully a lot easier to find stuff.
And then too, like I could search my AI tile, I could search my space and see everything here, and then go into here. This is, I guess, a little bit of extra credit here, and we starting to get health too. So this is not necessarily service binding, but the service instance health too. I was just like, very happy with what's happening here. So
good stuff.
We're even get this AI telemetry in here.
You need to do the chef kiss.
Yeah, meme, a little emoticon. I don't. It's hard to do in real life. So hey, but yeah. That being said, you should definitely check out Tanzu Platform for service management on really all the things. But hey, if you're in this space, I think you're really gonna like what you see, so to speak. All right. I guess I'll take my screen off the screen. And I know we are almost 52 minutes in, 51 something. So I guess we're probably do we have any other topics for the show? I don't want to run too long, but any other kind of closing thoughts for the guests, or anything else we want to bring up while we're here?
I guess I'd just say, if you are interested in service publishing or any of the services stuff, just reach out to any of us, I guess.
Yeah.
The point. But yeah, excited for people to try this out, and let us know what you think about it.
And I think, Lloyd, you have a blog post coming up very soon.
We do. Yeah, thanks, Keith, for the reminder.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah, so I think next week we'll have a blog post all around service publishing, what it unlocks for companies, as well as a nice little demo video that we've done to kind of show off a little bit what we showed today as well. So yeah, look forward to people trying it.
Very cool.
You can link to the show.
Yeah. Boom.
We're done.
Yeah, we're crushing it, right? Exactly. All right. I guess with that, thanks so much for joining the show. Great insights. Yeah. And then one last thing, again, one great reminder. Don't forget to like and subscribe, Pillow. You should do that, and make sure you're up to speed on all the latest Tanzu and Cloud Foundry offerings. But yeah, I think that's good for today, and I'll see how long I can run my house on my pure home lab heat before I have to break down and turn my heat on. But hopefully, we'll see how long we can go. I guess without further ado, we'll kind of sign off here. And Lloyd, this is the trick question of the show.
Oh,
we made it this far. I love to do this. Do you know how we close the show? Nobody gets this. Yeah, it's okay. Don't feel bad. Nobody gets this. I don't think anyone's ever gotten it. But we close the show with a kind of like a CF BY wave. So we'll like 3, 2, 1 CF BY, and we'll turn off the live stream. So that came out of our very first show of one of the comments. So we'll go from there. And then everyone live, thanks for watching. It's been a great show. Check out our socials and subscribe. So without further ado, 3, 2, 1.
CF BY.
Bye.